I grew up around the forest, but I never feared it until the day it swallowed my cousin Ethan. People in our town used to say the trail behind the old ranger station wasn't a place you wandered into alone, especially after sunset. They said the trail changed, like it had a heartbeat of its own. They said it took people, and worse, sometimes it brought something back that wasn't them anymore. I always thought it was just the kind of story parents told to keep kids away from danger. But when Ethan disappeared last fall right in front of me, I learned how real those stories were. The day it happened, the forest looked calmer than usual. The air felt thick still. I remember standing at the trailhead, clutching the straps on my backpack, watching Ethan grin at me like nothing in the world could touch him. He said he wanted to film something for his hiking vlog, something spooky, to get more views. I told him he was insane for choosing this trail, but Ethan never listened to anyone. He always had this kind of brightness in him, like he was too sure nothing bad could ever happen to him. I envied that confidence and hated it at the same time. Maybe that's why I followed him even when every part of me said not to. The deeper we went, the more wrong the woods felt. The air cooled, the sound of insects faded, and the trees curved in strange shapes, almost like they were leaning in to listen. Ethan cracked jokes, filmed the moss, talked into his camera like he didn't feel the tension crawling under his skin, but I felt it. The trail didn't feel like a trail anymore, it felt like a throat. We'd been walking an hour when Ethan stopped filming and looked around with a confused expression. He said he didn't recognize the path we were on even though we'd been walking straight. The trees looked the same but not in a natural way. They looked too straight, too evenly spaced, like someone had planted them in rows. A low, cold wind slipped between them, humming like it carried words too quiet to understand. I told Ethan we should turn back. He agreed, but when we turned, the trail behind us wasn't the one we came from. The dirt was darker, the trees were closer, and it led deeper into a part of the forest I had never seen before. Ethan laughed nervously and said we were probably just tired, but his voice shook. I tried to use my phone, but there was no signal, not even a flicker of a bar. Ethan tried his, and when he lifted the screen toward me, it was blank, not black, blank. Like the screen wasn't even turned on, even though he was pressing buttons. He shoved it into his pocket and said it was just a glitch. But I could see the fear starting to creep in. The trail narrowed until we were walking single file. I went ahead because Ethan kept slowing down, looking over his shoulder like he heard something behind us. I asked what he heard, but he wouldn't say. He just told me to keep moving. The silence was the worst part. Not a single bird, not a rustle of leaves, just the soft crunch of our footsteps and our quick breathing. We reached a curve in the trail when Ethan froze. I followed his gaze and saw something standing between two trees about 20 feet ahead. At first, I thought it was a person, but its shape wasn't right. Its arms were too long, its head tilted in a way no human neck could bend. The moment I blinked, it was gone. Ethan grabbed my arm and whispered that we needed to run, and for once, I didn't argue. We sprinted back down whatever path we thought we came from, but the trees shifted around us as though they were dragging their roots beneath the earth. I don't know how long we ran, but the shadows changed. They stretched like they were reaching for us. I grabbed Ethan's sleeve and yanked him forward, but he stumbled and dropped his camera. When he bent to grab it, something made a sound behind us, a soft, dragging inhale. Like something was learning how to breathe. Ethan turned and I heard him say my name, but not in fear, in disbelief. I looked over my shoulder and saw it, the thing from before, but closer, too close. Its face, or what should have been its face, was smooth and pale like clay that hadn't been carved yet, but the shape of a mouth was forming, slowly, deliberately, stretching wider than any human mouth could. Ethan backed up, shaking. He whispered, "It looks like me." I didn't understand what he meant until that thing stepped forward and its skin shifted, slowly, painfully, like something crawling beneath it was pushing the features into place. His features, Ethan's cheekbones, Ethan's eyes empty but shaped like his. The thing was changing, becoming him. I grabbed Ethan's wrist and shouted at him to run. We sprinted, branches tearing at our clothes, our lungs burning. Ethan gasped behind me, but he kept up. When we finally slowed down, I turned to make sure he was still there. But he wasn't. Ethan had been right behind me seconds ago, but now the trail was empty. I shouted his name, my voice echoing through the trees. No answer. I kept yelling until my throat hurt. Nothing. Not even the false bird calls the woods sometimes made at dusk. I tried to run back the way we came, but the trail forked into 3 identical paths. None of them felt right. None of them even felt real. I picked the middle one, praying I'd hear him. Instead, I heard footsteps behind me. Light, hurried footstep. Ethan's footsteps. I turned, relief rushing through me, but the person standing there wasn't moving right. His head tilted just like that thing's had. His smile was too wide, and his clothes were wrong. They were Ethan's clothes, but they were too clean, too new, no dirt, no rips from the branches. "Ethan," I whispered. He didn't answer. He just lifted his hand and pointed at me. And then he said my name in a voice that almost sounded like his, but with something underneath it, something old. I stumbled backward, shaking. Where is he? Where's the real Ethan? The thing smiled wider, its jaw stretching like it didn't have bones. I turned and ran. I didn't care where I was going, I just ran. The trees blurred around me. The air grew colder. The trail beneath me thinned until it was barely more than a line in the dirt. At some point I fell. My knees hit hard ground, and I felt blood dripping down my shin. I pushed myself up, panting, and saw something in front of me that made my breath stop. It was Ethan's camera, the same one he dropped earlier. It was lying perfectly centered on the trail, facing upright, like someone had gently placed it there for me to find. My hands trembled as I picked it up. The screen flickered, and for a moment I saw something, a face, Ethan's face, but his eyes were wild, terrified. He was reaching toward the camera, shouting something, but the audio was distorted, warped, like the forest itself was choking the sound. Then the screen cut to black. Behind me, leaves crunched. I froze. Something breathed in, slowly, deeply. The air grew colder behind my neck, like someone was leaning close, too close. I didn't turn around. I just whispered, "Ethan." Something whispered back, but the voice wasn't his. It was close, too close, and it said, "I'm almost finished. I'm almost finished." The words slid across my ear like a cold fingertip, slow and deliberate. I spun around, too quickly, and my vision shook, the trees blurring into long, dark streaks. For a moment, I thought no one was there. The trail behind me looked empty, too empty. Then the shadows shifted. A shape leaned away from the trunk of a tree, like it had been pressed against it, waiting. It was tall, wrongly tall, with a slouched posture that mirrored Ethan's but stretched too far. Its arms hung low, the fingers almost brushing the ground. And its face wasn't done yet. It had Ethan's jawline, but the skin wavered, unfixed, melting in slow, trembling motions. The mouth was the only part fully formed, wide and smiling like someone had carved the idea of a grin into wet clay. I stumbled backward, clutching the camera against my chest. "Where's Ethan?" The thing tilted its head, the movement jerky and curious, like it was still learning how to imitate him. My heart hammered when its lips twitched and parted. "Why would I tell you?" It rasped. Every syllable sounded like Ethan's voice pulled through rusted metal. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. The thing stepped forward, slow, confident. And in that moment, I noticed something horrifying. With each step it took, its body became more stable, more human. Its skin tightened, its features settling like an artist smoothing clay into a final sculpture. It was becoming him. It didn't need him anymore. It needed me. The trail behind it darkened unnaturally, like the trees bent inward to close the path. I didn't think. I bolted sideways off the trail, crashing through underbrush. Branches whipped my face, but I didn't stop. I heard the thing following, and it wasn't running. It was walking, calm, steady, confident, like it knew I had nowhere to go. I burst out into a clearing I didn't recognize. There was no path here, just a ring of trees so thick the canopy blocked every bit of sky. In the center of the clearing sat something impossible, Ethan's backpack, perfectly upright, perfectly clean, like someone had just set it down seconds ago. My hands shook as I approached it. "Ethan," I called, my voice cracking. A soft echo answered me, not from the forest, from inside the backpack. I grabbed the zipper and pulled it open. Inside was Ethan's phone, screen glowing even though it had been dead before. A video was paused on the display. My stomach tightened as I tapped it. The screen showed Ethan, but not the Ethan I knew. His eyes were wide, pupils huge, breathing shallow. He was in darkness, shaking the camera with trembling hands. He whispered, "If you're watching this, it's copying me, it's taking pieces. If it finishes, I won't be me anymore." The video glitched. The background behind him distorted, like the air itself was bending. I think it only needs one more thing." His breath hitched. "It needs you to believe it's me." The camera fell sideways. A shadow moved behind him, tall, awkward, reaching. The video cut out. I staggered back, nausea curling in my stomach. The air grew colder, and then I heard footsteps entering the clearing behind me. Slow, deliberate, matching the rhythm of Ethan's old hiking boots. Finished, I turned. The thing standing before me wasn't a creature anymore. It was Ethan, or at least it looked exactly like him. Same smile, same eyes, same posture. But something was wrong with the way he breathed. Too steady, too measured, like breathing was a choice, not a necessity. He stepped toward me. I reached into the backpack and pulled out the only thing I could find, Ethan's pocket knife. My hand shook so hard I almost dropped it. "Stay back," I whispered. The thing tilted its head in perfect confusion, the same way Ethan used to when I made stupid jokes. "You don't need that," it said softly, its voice perfect now, calm, friendly. Comforting. "I'm here, I made it out." Its smile widened. "And now you can help me." "What did you do to him?" I asked, tears burning my eyes. "Where is the real Ethan?" Its face didn't change, not even a flicker. "He's part of the forest now." I stepped back. My heel hit something. When I looked down, I choked. A shoe, Ethan's shoe, his real one, still muddy, still torn from when he tripped, and still crushed, like something heavy had stepped on the foot inside it. I screamed. The creature lunged. I turned and ran toward the thick line of trees, but the canopy tightened, twisting the branches into a wall. I spun the other way. Blocked. Every direction was sealed off. Except one, a narrow gap behind the creature. The only way out was getting past it. It stood perfectly still, watching me with patient eyes, almost kind. Ethan's kindness, the kindness he didn't deserve to have stolen from him. "You can't leave," it whispered. "The forest chose you, just like it chose him. I'm not staying." I snapped, gripping the knife. The creature stepped closer, arms open like it wanted a hug. "But you already belong." My pulse erupted. I charged at it. It didn't flinch. At the last second, I dropped low, skidded past its legs, and bolted through the gap in the trees. I felt fingers graze the back of my jacket, cold as winter metal, but I didn't stop. I sprinted until my vision blurred, until my lungs burned, until the forest changed around me, and suddenly, impossibly, I burst onto the real trail. The one near the ranger station, the one that should have taken hours to reach. I collapsed, gasping, sobbing. The woods behind me were silent, still, empty. I didn't look back. I didn't dare. I ran until I saw the parking lot through the trees. My car, civilization, safety. I slammed into the driver's seat, locked the doors, and fumbled with the keys. That's when something moved in the side mirror. A figure stepping out of the forest. Ethan, or what looked like Ethan. His clothes were clean, his breathing was too still, his smile was too calm. He raised a hand and waved at me. Slowly, then his mouth moved. I found you. The parking lot lights flickered, and one of them went out. The parking lot light closest to the forest flickered once, twice, then died with a soft pop. Darkness swallowed the space around my car, swallowing him too. Only the faint blue glow of my dashboard lit my shaking hands on the steering wheel. I fumbled the key into the ignition and twisted hard. The engine coughed, failed. I swore, tried again, nothing. Dead silence. Then a soft tapping on the rear windshield. Tap, tap, tap. I couldn't breathe. My hands tightened on the wheel. I didn't want to turn around, didn't want to confirm what every cell in my body already knew. I wasn't alone. Please, I whispered, not sure if I meant it as a prayer or a plea. The tapping stopped. A shadow moved across the fogged glass. Smooth, slow, deliberate. It circled around to the driver's side door. My instincts screamed at me to run, to do anything but sit there waiting to die. I reached for my phone, but it wasn't in the cup holder. The screen lit up from between the seats. A notification appeared. One new video from Ethan. My heart plummeted. The same video I saw in the forest. The one where he begged. The one where he died. The creature outside knocked once on the window. I had no choice. My hand hovered over the phone like it might burn me. Then I picked it up and played the video, except this time, the video was different. Ethan's face filled the screen again, terrified, bruised, shaking, but the darkness behind him wasn't the forest anymore. It was my car, my backseat. Ethan looked over his shoulder like he could hear something behind me. He whispered, "He's in there with you." My blood froze. I whipped around, nothing, just shadows. Then the video changed again. Ethan leaned closer until his face took up the entire frame. Tears streaked down his cheeks. "Listen, the thing wearing me, it smells belief if you think it's me, even for 1 second. It gets stronger, it finishes." The camera shook violently. "Don't look at its face," he gasped. "Don't respond to its voice. Don't." The video cut out with a sharp glitch. Outside, the creature mimicked a soft, friendly knock. The kind Ethan used to do at my door. "Hey," it said gently, using Ethan's perfect voice. "Open up. It's cold out here. You're scared. Let me in." My throat locked shut. He changed his tone. "You know me. I'm your friend. We came here together." My tears spilled. Because yes, Ethan was my friend, but whatever stood outside wasn't him. The forest took Ethan, and it wanted me next. I forced myself to stare straight ahead, not at the window, not at its reflection. "You're not him," I whispered. "I know what you are." The creature's hand slid slowly down my window, nails dragging. The air around the car grew colder. "You don't get to decide that," it murmured. "The forest decides. I'm already him. You're the last piece." "What piece?" Silence. "Then the part of him that loved you like a brother." My breath caught. It knew everything, every memory, every feeling, and it used them like weapons. I tried the engine again, once, twice. Nothing. The lights around the parking lot flickered weakly, then shut off one by one. The darkness thickened until it felt physical, like cold hands pressing against the glass. A soft creak came from the back seat, leather shifting, like someone settling into a seat. I froze. It was inside. I didn't turn around. I didn't breathe. Then a familiar whisper brushed the back of my neck. "You believed me." I lunged for the door handle, flung the door open, and sprinted into the darkness. My legs burned, lungs ripping, but fear carried me across the asphalt. Behind me, footsteps followed, not fast, not panicked, but steady, confident, knowing I couldn't outrun it. I reached the ranger station and slammed into the locked door, pounding with both fists. "Help, please." The woods behind me rustled. Branches cracked. Something moved closer. A porch light snapped on. An elderly ranger opened the door, eyes wide. "Jesus, kid, get inside." I stumbled in. He slammed the door and locked it. "What the hell is out there?" I tried to speak, but air refused to leave my lungs. Then the window beside us fogged over. A hand pressed against it from the outside. A perfect human hand, Ethan's hand. It dragged slowly across the glass, leaving streaks. The ranger swore under his breath, grabbing his radio. "We've had disappearances out there, whatever's chasing you. It's not human." I swallowed hard. "Then what is it?" He stared out the window, eyes narrowing. "It's the trail. The trail makes copies. It doesn't bring back people. It brings back possibilities. The person the forest wishes they were. Better versions. Stronger. Hungrier." A sharp bang hit the window. The glass cracked. The ranger grabbed my shoulder. "Listen to me. Don't look at it. Don't speak to it. Don't believe it." "I won't." I breathed. Another bang. The window broke. A long, pale arm slipped through the broken pane, reaching for me. The ranger fired his shotgun. The arm dissolved into black ash. But more footsteps came from the dark. More shapes, more versions. One of them whispered in Ethan's voice, "You should have believed me." The ranger grabbed my wrist and dragged me through a back door. We ran into a storage shed, barricading it with crates. "Will that stop them?" I asked. "No," he said quietly, "but the sun will." I checked my phone. It was 3:12 a.m., hours until dawn. Outside, footsteps circled the shed. Hands scratched the walls, bodies pressed against the windows. Voices mimicked Ethan, mimicked me, mimicked the ranger. "You won't make it." One whispered through the cracks. He didn't. I pressed my hands to my ears. The ranger sat beside me, loading another shell. "Kid, whatever comes through that door, don't let it talk to you. Don't let it become you." "I won't. You promise." "I promise." Silence. For a moment, I thought they'd gone. Then a voice spoke from the darkness, small, terrified. Ethan's real voice. "Please, help me. I'm still alive." My heart shattered. My head lifted instinctively. The ranger grabbed my shirt violently. "That's not him." "But what if it's not him?" The voices outside grew angry, overlapping into a chorus. Then everything went silent, too silent. The ranger raised his gun. "Get ready," he whispered. The door handle turned slowly. I held my breath. The door creaked open. A shape stepped inside, small, crying, bleeding. "Ethan, broken, real." He collapsed at my feet, sobbing, "It's me. It's really me. I escaped. Please." I fell to my knees. Reaching out, the ranger pressed the shotgun to Ethan's head. "No." I screamed. "Stop. What are you doing? That's not your friend." "How do you know?" The ranger's voice cracked. "Because the real ones don't come back." Ethan looked up at me, tears shining, eyes begging. "Please," he whispered, "don't let him kill me. You know me. You know me." Everything inside me broke. I knew him, his voice, his fear, his soul. It was him. It had to be. The ranger pulled the trigger. The blast shook the room. Ethan's body hit the floor, his face dissolved like smoke, leaving nothing behind. Just darkness, just lies, just the forest. I fell back, shaking violently. The ranger dropped the gun, exhausted. "I told you," he whispered, "they don't come back." Outside, the first light of dawn began to touch the trees. The voices disappeared. The copies faded. The scratching stopped. The forest exhaled. Hours later, the police found my car abandoned. The ranger and I were taken into questioning. They didn't believe a word we said. But I didn't care. I only cared about one thing. I never saw Ethan again. Not the real one, not a copy, not a voice. But sometimes when I walk past a mirror, I swear I see him standing behind me, smiling, waiting, like the forest sent him back anyway, and this time, it sent him for me. The end.